Hello, hello. Papa Dog and I are waiting for Paul to get ready. Paul is on the phone with the DMV. That's where that music comes from the DMV. We don't listen to music like this. We don't listen to any music at home. Well, I listen to classical music in the van and sometimes folk music from around the globe. From Putumayo. I have my salsa CD in there right now. Maybe I'll go in the van and put that music on. That's much better. But anyway, it's nice here on the lawn right now. Sitting here on the lawn. And there is the rhododendron. I don't know if this shows. The rhododendron, the pink rhododendron is coming out. And it is absolutely glorious and gorgeous, and it gets me going in life. And Papa Dog is the ultimate, okay? And these shoes are awesome, total ultimate awesome shoes. And Papa Dog has platform shoes. So yeah, I want to take the opportunity while I'm waiting for Paul. I don't know how long this is going to take to make a quick video. And again, like I always do, the sun's kind of bright. Maybe I should put sunglasses on. The sun isn't out, but it is bright, so I better get my sunglasses. But anyway, my eyes are very sensitive to the sun. Um, as always, I wake up, philosophizing, and sentences are formulating themselves in my brain, whether I want it or not. It's like it just happens. And so it just ran and ran and ran and ran when I woke up at 9, just before the time I usually get up. And I also have a flu, which maybe also caused me to wake up earlier. And so then I formulated an entire video in my head. And then I went back to sleep, and I slept until 12:30. So, and I thought all of this, what I have spun out, is probably fragmented away and lost, but I'm gonna try to recall it. These are thoughts in conjunction to the video I made yesterday, because as usually I get misunderstood very easily. People are very quick to misunderstand someone due to their own groove way of thinking. That Ergun is a perfect example for this, but he's not the only one. Most people are falling into that groove of it's either this or that. It can only be this or it can only be that. You have to be either on this side of the valley or on that side. And it always is seen, everything is seen through a very dualistic, bellicose front type of perspective on life. It's like it's always about oh my gosh, that was a hummingbird. Hummingbird, nice. It's always about, for people, it's always very stereotypical, the way they view things. And it comes out of their own ego and hurt and bias. There's a lot of hurt involved. If there wasn't the hurt involved, then people could actually look at it in a relaxed state, and they can see things where they actually are, and not group things onto this side or that side of the road. So Now, how about the golden middle way? How about listening to people, actually listening to what they say instead of coming to these quick conclusions and saying, you are for Donald Trump, you must be a redneck. Okay, no, okay, but really look at it from a distance. Look at it from above. See the entire spectrum of everything. Or they go, you like Hillary Clinton, you must be retarded, because that's what they have been told. So then that's what they're gonna be saying to someone like me, okay? And things are not that black and white. Things are much more interspectrum and gray shades and all colors in between, of the rainbow. So it's not just this or that. And what I wanted to explain in this video is that I deeply, deeply care. And I see things, I observe things. I was young too once, and naive, okay? But I've done a great deal of researching and thinking and reading lots of books and lots of blogs and watching debates. And I think people who watch debates, first of all, they get very good at English, okay? It doesn't matter where you are around the globe. If you live in Slovakia and you have never learned English, because Slovakia, I think they started to introduce English in school after 1989, okay? So a lot of people were born afterwards, yeah. But that's when the wall came down. Before that, English was not taught because it was considered something Western. It was considered capitalism, and the regime was against it. Okay, that was the Soviet Union. Those people are not used to English. Most of those people, yeah. The older generations, particular. So, but it would really doesn't matter where you are. You could be halfway around the globe on the very other side. You could live in the tundra in Mongolia. If you have internet and you only speak a Slovakian Russian type of language with even totally different alphabet and totally different letters. If you watch debates by Gary Mentam or other people or Sam Harris and Richard Dawkins, and you watch these debates every single day, you learn it like a child play. Yeah. You learn it in a specific context, which is your guide. And when you learn this, and I've observed this in people, that uh, now people pick it up much more easily, the new generations. My friend Mirka, she learns it like it's her native language because she watches a lot of debates and watches a lot of intellectual shows and programs on YouTube and so on. She's interested, she's highly intelligent, and she's watching this, and she's not doing video games or watching porn or whatever, which most humans do. And so if you watch porn from the United States, which probably a lot of people in the Middle East do, you're not gonna learn like the proper nuanced English that is necessary to have a decent philosophical conversation. It's just not gonna happen, okay? So, and that's why I do hold people responsible, instead of drinking alcohol and doing porn all day long, which most men are doing on worldwide. That's why they have these self-help groups now to help. This doesn't help anyone. You need to understand here intellectually that it's a red flag. It's dangerous. It makes you retarded down the line, yeah. Because you're missing out on important English, on important thinking, important dialogue, important concepts, important analysis of things, of life, important pondering, So it sounds bitter when I say this, and I am a little bitter about this because it is aggravating, and then someone will come, an apologist will come, but they don't know any better. Yes, they do. Okay, they do. They have a choice. You have a choice between video games where you shoot people or like a jihad video game or something, or whatever video, military from the US, shoot all atheists. I've seen all of this, I've petitioned against those. Um, and porn, where there's like 3 words, a 3-word vocabulary happening. Uh, or, you can turn this around. You can really watch debates and learn, really, really learn, and expand your horizon, expand your brain, and it will make the world a better place. We have the responsibility to do this. Every single person has the responsibility to do this. It will empower you. You won't be sitting there at home anymore in your undershirt complaining about the elite. If you really start to listen to intellectual debates, okay, then you will get into the material, you will start learning it, you might even research some of the terminology, yes? And once you get started with this, you're on the roll. Your brain is on a quest, on a thirsty quest for knowledge. And then things are gonna be rolling and and evolving, and you become empowered. Why are all these people from the East Bloc countries out there, the northern East Bloc countries like Slovakia, Czechoslovakia, Serbia, Russia, Hungary, um, even Armenia? So all of these countries out there, the people out there, that are near Germany, that are bordering Germany and Austria on the east. So why are those people all involved in debating, and when they don't even, when their native language is not even English, and they all become completely fluent, and sometimes you can't even determine anymore whether they are actually from the US or not, because their English is becoming flawless and highly sophisticated and educated, and very good grammar, much better English than most English speaking people in English speaking countries. So I observe these things on the internet. What's up with this? I think this should be sort of like it should speak to us. It should tell us something. It should say, it really depends on what you're doing all day long on the internet. So what are you listening to? What are you reading? So it really depends on that. And if you do this, Tony Robbins talked about it too. If you read half a book every day, it's what Tony Robbins said, then you are going to have read a lot of books in 10 years. So that's all there is to it. You know, it accumulates and it expands your horizon. Knowledge is power. The more you learn, the more empowerment you have. Not talking about power over someone else, which the unempowered person likes to have. The unempowered person always thinks of power in terms of having power over someone else. And that's why a lot of them are sadistic also, So because it's some kind of thrill to have power over another innocent living being, which is an extremely low life thing to think and feel. So empower yourselves so you don't have the feeling anymore of being unempowered or having some elitists walk on you like a rug. Yeah. Empower yourself through knowledge and begin to love yourself, begin to appreciate yourself, begin to appreciate things. Everyone can go, you don't have to have money for that. You can go into a forest or into a more natural place. In LA, you can go to the beach. There's the Getty Center in LA. You can go there, that's free. You can go there. It even has this electric like streetcar thing that carries you for free from the parking lot all the way up to the hill and to those amazing buildings from Richard Meyer. And there you can expand your mind, and there's an unbelievably beautiful botanical garden. You can go in there, you can sit there, you can really enjoy the beauty there. Okay, instead of, and do this without having an agenda, without, oh, maybe I can find a date there, or just go there and sit there by yourself. Johnny Bravo, everyone can do it, then you don't have to think about Eric or Mike or any of these people that you're jealous of. You can, I think, I don't know where they live, but a lot of those types of people live in LA and they feel very unempowered. They feel like certain people are walking on them like a rug. But they do it to themselves. You do it to yourselves. If you stay at home, eat all day and do porn and video games, you're not gonna expand your horizon. And then you feel unempowered, and then you're jealous of other people who have more education, and then you blame it on an inequality issue. But you are the one causing the inequality. I'm talking about all people, not one specific group. I'm talking about all humans. Most humans are like this, worldwide, whatever ethnicity, wherever they are. And that is a real serious issue. Yes, Baba Dog. Okay, so that is one very important thing for me to talk about. Very, very important. And okay, and the other thing that I wanted to say is that okay, these are baby rhododendron here. Look at that. Baby rhododendron. Yeah. See, I have much appreciation. This is life. I want you to do the same thing, people out there. Feel appreciation for life. Forget about your, popularity or all these petty things. Yeah. Go into nature and appreciate life. Appreciate things. There are so many things to appreciate in the world. It's not just, getting money. There are so many things that are out there that are there for us. For every one of us. There's a little killer, I say, in here. So, alright, but Another thing that I wanted to say, it's very important what I wanted to say when I woke up at 9, is that I love all living beings equally much. And the way I mean this is, like, let's take this example. You might say, oh, you Adolf Hitler, you talked about this yesterday, about the machine taking over. Okay, let me clarify this. Okay, I'm not Adolf Hitler. This is a regular person. So I'm a caring person. Caring. I have compassion. So this is how I see it. If you take a psychopath who constantly does mischief, rips everyone off, that might even hurt people to feel this surge of power, in quotation mark, which is not power, it's unempowerment. And these people are doing only hurting other people all day long. So, and what bothers me particularly is when people are making excuses for those people, and when they even blame inequality issues on this, or say, oh, they have been dealt a bad hand, or some bullshit like this. I've suffered too in my life. I don't hurt anyone. So you take a psychopath, and let's say, just a hypothetical example, let's say he gets some kind of stroke or something from eating too much meat. Okay? And he gets paralyzed from the neck down, or maybe his entire face too. He can't even talk anymore, kind of like Stephen Hawking. And maybe even worse, maybe he ends up in a wake coma. That happens too sometimes. And so he's just basically a vegetable. He has to be even on life support. It's just a body that's still alive, but he's in a wake coma. There's nothing happening. There isn't any brain activity even, or something like this. And that can happen sometimes from strokes or illness, or being shot in the head, or whatever. And so when I go in the hospital, just as use this as an example, and I bring him a bouquet of flowers, and I sit by his side, and I hold his hand. I have no animosity towards him, no matter what. It's like, it doesn't matter who that person is. It doesn't matter how good looking he is, or what skin color he has, or how poor or rich he is. I go in there, bring a bouquet of flowers, and I see this living being. I cry for him. I see this living being. It's just an example. I see this living being as a living being, also as someone who is a tragical person. And even if he had done terrible things and all of this, that is not his body's fault. His body is rather like a meat robot, following the commands of the central nervous system, the commands of the brain. And not even, I talked about this before, not even the brain cells want to hurt another living being. What happens in that brain is, and it's not a demon, okay? What happens there is called ego, okay? Ego is a splitting away of consciousness, okay? Where emotional pain, self-hate, and all of this, from childhood trauma, not having been loved, all of these things, they are accumulated. The child splits away with the consciousness, and because it's can't take it, doesn't want to think about it. But then what happens is, then the ego is formed, and then and the ego consists of tons of self-images, like, that are supposed to balance out this lack of self-esteem, self-images of I'm a tough guy, or I have tattoos, or I am badass, or I am, you know, I'm killer or whatever, or I'm, those kind of, what people do. So the prisons are full of these people, with this exact same self-images. So wanting to feel tough, and also it's an accumulation, not just the self-image of, daddy told them to man up and be a real man, but also I've seen this one thing also in some women who have been abused. They kind of become tough. I even have those types of things going on, or had going on in my life. I think it's still a little bit where I like to look at my biceps, and I like to carry heavy water jugs, and then I can say, see, I'm tough and no one can hurt me anymore. So that's another component that adds to it even, and in men makes it, potentialized, because they have this no one can hurt me anymore, and they have this I'm going to show daddy what an amazing tough guy I am. So it's like it's a double self-image, that arises out of it. And I'm not judging, I'm not saying, oh, you are stupid for doing this. This is a mechanism that happens almost like by default. It's a self-defense mechanism. That's what it is. It's basically, the ego is a psychological self-defense mechanism. That's all it is. And people give this all kinds of mystery, and kind of interpret demons into it and all this bullshit. And all it is, it's self-images, the wanting to take a distance to the past, wanting to create an image where they can feel sort of good about themselves, and where they feel like they feel like that's in the men, they feel like that's what women like. They feel like women like a mean guy or something. And just from what I have been observing, first of all, from my own personal experience, and what I also observed in other women, is most women don't want that. Most women don't want a criminal as a boyfriend, or, you know, around their pets and children. So we want a lazy teddy bear, cozy, maybe not lazy, but cozy teddy bear. That's what we want. We want teddy bear boyfriend who is chunky and big and muscular, but doesn't act out violence on anyone, and is very protective and very loving and understanding and listens, and very good, very, very, very loving with the animals. So that's the ideal boyfriend. That's what a lot of men with these self-images of macho don't understand, because they are so caught up on that groove of I am macho with tattoos, that they can't see beyond that. They don't even pay attention and see what women really want. So all of this is happening, right? But if I go into the hospital, I sit next to that guy that is a vegetable. All of these things are not there. They have fallen away because it's a vegetable. So there's only the body left, and the brain cells too. They don't want to hurt anyone. The brain cells are also basically every function in that system was at the mercy to this self-defense mechanism, psychological self-defense mechanism that takes on a life on its own. That's why so many religious people interpret a demon into it, but that's not a demon. It's just a splitting away of consciousness. That's all it is. It's just self-defense. For some people, that goes so far that they choose death over introspection. They choose even death over over going within themselves and or sitting there with a feeling of defeat, in quotation marks. For men, it is very particularly traumatic, So, but it's just what it seems like. It's not a trauma. The trauma has already occurred in the past. Okay? That's why they're acting like this. So if people start to understand these things, if you start to understand these mechanisms in yourself, then you can detect it, and you can see it, and you can say to yourself, there it is. That's what I just did again. That's that same mechanism. The moment you recognize it, you stop doing this. That's why Jiddu Krishnamurti always said, seeing is action, because there's an action in the brain happening. The moment you see it, you no longer act out. You no longer give into it. And you no longer are in the common pain of society, the communal pain. Because it's like one big matrix of communal pain where everyone is in that same groove. So in the moment you recognize this, you are stepping out of that. And it is hugely liberating, hugely, particularly for men. And I see men have it like light years even worse than women in this regard. Because we still have this sexist communal groove of men having to be tough, be rich, be successful, be smart, and all of this. Much more expected from men than from women. And it's still going on, even with feminism and everything. So it's this self-expectation, that is so tremendous in them. They're like under a pressure cooker with this, and it gets worse. It potentializes itself when it is unconscious, and when they are afraid that their mechanisms are detected by someone. So they can't even show fear. Fear of the fear of the fear is over and over and over convolutedly hidden. The fear of the fear is hidden, and then the fear of that is hidden. So everything becomes hidden and tucked away, and there's a mask put on top of this of I am tough and I don't care, yawn, and underneath it's cooking and boiling, that fear and the insecurity and the fear of what other people think of them, and or what other men think of them. The other men might laugh about them, and then they might feel defeated again, or other women will laugh, or women will reject them, and so on. This is what's happening. Yeah, I'm gonna come. Okay, you guys take care. Bye bye.